Well, here we are. Spring football for 2012 is in the history books as we take a look back with head football coach Bobby Wilder. The next step is always the most important one. We'll take a quick moment to review the 15 practices.
Yeah, this was by far the best spring practice we've had. We focused this spring on trying to think fast and play fast. Our goal is to be the fastest team in the country in the FCS on special teams, defense and offense. So we simplified in terms of game plans, if you will, the number of plays we had in on offense, the number of defenses we were running, and what we're doing on special teams, and really tried to focus head on being as fast as we could be. We talk often about 6 seconds of aggressive execution. That's the time an average play takes, and trying to be as fast as we can in all 3 phases, and I feel like we accomplished that goal this spring.
How has the process changed for you now that you're going from a brand new program to suddenly an experienced program?
Yeah, that's a great question. I spoke with the players about this at the start of spring ball, the fact that we had 47 experienced players on our roster, and when we started in 2009, folks, we had 0 experienced players on our roster. So the fact we have a veteran team now, this season, the 2012 season, will be our first official senior class. And we have 18 seniors that have been in the program for 4 years, so we have experience. We have depth now. We have players that, if they're not starting on offense or defense, well, they've played. They've played a lot of football. They played for 2 or 3 years, so that helps in terms of the development of your program. That helps when you're in the classroom and you're teaching. There's retention. There's memory from previous game experiences, and having those 47 players that have actually played, having 18 of our 25 starters returning, with the 11 on offense, the 11 on defense, and our kicker, punter, and a long snapper. Out of those 25 starters, we have 18 of them back, so it helps from the standpoint of we have veteran players now.
All right, let's take a look first of all at the offensive skill players, what you were trying to work on in the spring and what you're looking forward to throughout the summer.
Yeah, starting with the running backs, we have Angus Harper, we have Colby Goodwin, we have Tyree Lee that have all played. You know, there's experience there, and I've always felt in my 25 years of coaching at the FCS level, my previous experience in the CAA, that you need to have at least 2, probably 3 running backs that can play. And when you look back to last year, Angus Harper and Colby Goodwin got the brunt of the work, and their numbers were almost identical in terms of rushing yards, receiving yards. So having at least 2 backs that can play, I feel we have that. Tyree Lee, unfortunately, didn't get to play a lot last year because of the knee injury, but he had a very good spring, so I feel very good about the running back position. Excuse me. The wideout position right now, Ted, what a veteran experienced group.
About deep, too.
We have, yeah, very deep. I feel like there's at least 6 players right now that can play at a very high level. Other than Prentice Gill, who graduated, every other wide receiver is back, and now you throw Kirk Spellman into the mix, who was a freshman last year that redshirted. There's at least 6 guys there that can play and can play well. There's tremendous competition for starting positions, but unlike a lot of programs with our wideouts, as you know, Ted, from watching us, we're going to play 8 to 10 wideouts in a game with a goal of trying to get 80 plays and guys running fast and furious down the field. We substitute on a regular basis, so they all know they're going to play. They all know they have to share the ball, which always isn't a comfortable thing when you're a wideout. You want the ball every play, but we'll share the ball. We'll spread the ball around. I feel very good about our depth at wide receiver.
Taylor Heineke and Nate Ong did some nice things in springtime as well.
Really pleased with the progress there. Taylor Heineke's better as a quarterback. His number 1 goal this spring was to work on his pocket presence, if you will, his feet, the ability to move in the lane and still keep the ball in a good throwing position under pressure, be able to throw the ball just as well when he's moving out of the pocket as he does when he's in the pocket, and he improved in that area. Better command of the offense. He has a much better understanding now of how to set protections, where blitzers are coming from, when he's got to throw the ball hot, meaning there's a defensive player that's coming that's unblocked, where to get the ball to. Those are all things he learned on the fly last year while he was playing. Now he has much better command. Nate Ong had an excellent spring. That's clearly the best he has played since he's been at Old Dominion, and there becomes a bit of a finality, if you will, when you're going into your senior year. Nate's approaching his last year, and as we learned last year, Ted, with the injury to Thomas DeMarco, you have to have two quarterbacks ready to go that can play, and I feel like we have two excellent quarterbacks.
Protecting them and opening up the lines for the running backs, the offensive line, what have you seen from them in terms of development?
Oh, tremendous improvement from the standpoint of we moved some people, different positions. You know, starting with Josh Mann having to step in for Jeremy Hensley, very good spring at center. Jack Lowney making the move to the blind side, if you will, over to left tackle. Jack had a really good spring. I was pleased, and it's different when you go from playing on the right side of the line to the left side of the line. Everything you do with your footwork is the opposite. You've got to learn how to play left-handed, if you will, and Jack did that in the spring. Robbie Duncan, very solid at right tackle. Robbie's developed into an excellent football player. You're talking about somebody who came to this program as a walk-on, who's now a full scholarship player, an experienced starter in this league. Really pleased with what he did this spring. We saw the same thing from David Bourne. David joined us last year in the spring as a transfer, was a starter for us all last year, continues to improve. For a man who's 6'8", 350 pounds, to move the way he does, very intelligent, not only in the classroom but on the football field. Excellent spring at left guard. And then at right guard, that was really where we had our biggest competition. DJ Morrell, who joined us from Dean Junior College, and Connor Mewborn, who is a true freshman this year from First Colonial High School in Virginia Beach. They battled it out at that position. Right now, DJ's a little bit ahead of him, but Connor Mewborn proved to us this spring that he can play, and we've got depth at that position. I feel like we have 10 players right now that can play at the offensive line, and we've never been close to that number.
Moving from the offense to the defense, obviously there's some concerns, lots of yards given up, lots of points given up, so that was a point of concern during your off season. Where are we with the defense?
We're improved through the spring. The focus point, Ted, this spring with our defense was, number one, tackling. We needed to become a better tackling football team. We accomplished that. Coach D and Coach Malloy and the defensive staff, that was the first thing we did. Every practice was work on our tackling. We're improved there. Ability to run through our strength and conditioning program. We're faster as a defense. We needed to get faster. There's still areas we need to improve on, which we will on defense, mainly at our linebacker position right now. We made the move to put Craig Wilkins from his outside linebacker position last year, which was a combination linebacker, defensive back. And remember, he moved from safety, was his first stop. Well, we took Craig and put him in at the Mike linebacker. And I think Craig's going to have a big year for us. He's 6'2", 235 pounds right now. He runs a 4.5. He verticals 40 inches. He had an impressive spring. Chris Burnett, our other defensive captain, along with Craig, had an excellent spring. Eric Saylor had a really big spring. So inside, we always start defensively. How are you up the middle, so to speak? Our two D tackles, Burnett and Saylor, excellent. Craig Wilkins at Mike linebacker, excellent. So that's the starting point. We improved that. We've got to get better on the edge. We made the move with Alex Oran, going from inside linebacker to a stand-up defensive end. Alex learned that position this spring. That was the starting point. 15 practices to learn, and now he's got 29 practices leading up to Duquesne to polish his skills at that spot. Urban Johnson was a pleasant surprise. Urban joined us this year in January, transferred from Dean Junior College. He's going to play that other inside linebacker position with Craig. Rasan Moore, who joined us in January, transferred from Maryland at the other defensive end position opposite of Alex Oran, made a really strong impression on us, and is competing with Preston Smith, who got better this spring at that position. So we start in the middle, then you start up front with all four of them. I feel like across the board on defense we're much improved, and really last but not least, what I feel like is our strongest area now on defense is our defensive backfield. And what those players have done, number one, having TJ Cowart back. Remember, TJ broke his wrist in the Georgia State game last year, our second game, and was lost for the season. Well, TJ's back, and TJ has the opportunity to be one of the best cover corners in the CAA next year. Opposite of him is Eric Lewis, who was an all-conference player. I feel like we're much improved at safety. We have a lot of competition at safety right now, but we've got veteran players, Carbon Powell, Devon Simmons, 2 seniors next year coming back, and then we've got guys competing like Paul Morant, who ran the interception back for a touchdown in the spring game. So overall on defense, I feel like we're improved, but we're still not where we need to be September 1st.
Then we move from the defense to the all-star team, the special teams. You've got some big names returning, but you also have some folks that
our favorite team.
Our favorite team, no doubt about it. The special teams making highlights all over the place. You have to love that. This is where it all begins, it seems. Not only in the games physically, but psychologically for your program as well. Tell us about the special teams.
Yeah, the all-star team right now, we're very fortunate we have all 3 starters back, with Rick Lovato, who does our long snapping for punts and our short snapping for PAT field goal. Jonathan Plisco, who's been an All-American ever since he's walked on campus, going into his senior year now. Hard to believe Jonathan's going to be a senior. And then Jared Brown, who had a very good season last year, does an excellent job with our specialty kicks. Jared had a good spring, so we start with those 3, and you need to be solid with your punter, your kicker, and your long snapper. And I think long snapper is the most overlooked position on anybody's team. We always start when we're studying our opponent. How is their snapper? You know, can we block punts or kicks based on that? How can we attack their protections based on that position? So we have a very good long snapper. And then when you move back from those 3 positions, Ted, the reason we call our special teams our all-star team is because no player at Old Dominion starts on offense or defense unless they start on an all-star team, and that includes Taylor Heineke, who does specialty things for us with our punting game. As you know, last year we'd be 4th and 1 on our own 30, and we'd snap to Taylor and have him punt the ball. So Taylor performs that. Craig Wilkins, Chris Burnett, those are our captains. They start on the all-star team, and that's our major focus. That's our emphasis. Every meeting we starts with special teams. Every drill and practice starts with special teams, and we're proud of the fact that last year we led the nation in block punts or kicks with 11. We're proud of the fact that we're able to do specialty plays, if you will, in the area of kickoff or punt or PAT field goal, because those give you advantages in games, not only from potentially stealing a possession from somebody by running a fake punt or a fake PAT, but also points and momentum. All those things come into it, and I felt like through this spring, Ted, we got even better in the areas of special team. Now, the areas we need to clean up on special teams, we were not as good as we need to be on kickoff coverage. We were not as good as we need to be on punt coverage. And our kickoff return team last year took a step back. 2 years ago, we were 7th in the nation. Last year, we dropped all the way down to 100 in kickoff returns in terms of yardage. You know, we didn't lose the ball. We didn't fumble the ball or turn it over, but we didn't gain field position. Part of that was Colby Goodwin wasn't on kickoff return last year. He was the leading returner in the nation 2 years ago. So Colby's back, and I feel like we're much improved in that area.
There you have it, the spring of 2012 in the rearview mirror. Looking forward to September 1st and Duquesne, and the fall practices starts
August 4th.
August 4th. Well before fall, they'll be out there. Bobby Wilder, I'm Ted Alexander for Monarch Media.
Aim high, 12 Monarchs. Aim high.